What is going on, people? Welcome to the Midwest Mike Sports Show. I am your host, Mike Klean, and I am joined here by the one, the only Midwest Mike. What's going on, buddy?
What is going on? Big Super Bowl Sunday.
Huge.
Chiefs win it.
Huge.
Chiefs, baby. Yeah.
Oh, man. It didn't. Both teams were moving the ball. Over smacked. Over was a lock.
Yeah.
Chiefs down. First half. Mahomes limping. You know. Millions of people hammered the Eagles in the second half. Live. Mahomes is done. And he comes back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they scored pretty much on every single drive in the second half. And
they scored on every drive. He had one incomplete pass the entire second half, and that was when he threw it away. The Eagles looked better in the first half, primarily because Mahomes didn't have the ball.
Right.
And
their time of possession was like 20-8. It was nuts.
Yeah. And that's just because they didn't have the ball in the first half. It wasn't great being down 10, but longer halftime show, longer time to make adjustments, more time to get, attention on his ankle and all that stuff.
Sure. He definitely got shot up, dude.
The Chiefs are just the better team. I talked about it in the write-up, how they played a lot tougher schedule. Yep. The Eagles defense has given up an average of 33.5 points to the better quarterbacks in the league. And that's why I was on the over, and that's why I was on the Chiefs. The Cowboys put up a bunch. The Jags put up a bunch. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers put up a bunch. All these, they had a really weak schedule. They got exposed. They didn't even have a sack yesterday. No sacks, nothing. In the red zone, you have a guy wide open by 10, 15 yards. It's the same thing that the Jaguars did to them. So the Eagles, they're a good team, but they got exposed. They're not. Their defense is not as good as everyone thought, which is exactly why I was on the Chiefs and on the Chiefs big. I had an Eagles future, but I really like the Chiefs, so that's why I went really heavy on them. Either way, we're gonna make. If you had the Eagles future, make 8.5. I almost wanted to even do more and just say fuck it. Make 18 or 16 units, or make nothing. And literally
why not
put over 20 units on it, but
could have.
And I don't want to hear about the penalty at the end. I mean, they all admitted, unfortunately, either way, the Chiefs would have kicked a field goal, gone up 3, and Hurts would have had 90 seconds. But the Chiefs and the Eagles are completely different teams. The Eagles, Hurts will run it for 6 yards, hand it off for another 4, pass it for 10. They operate a lot differently, and we saw that in the first half. They operate a lot differently than the Chiefs. So I wouldn't even be so sure that they could have marched what they needed to kick a field goal to even tie it or get a touchdown to win it. The Chiefs D is good. I was even listening to something on this morning, and they're talking about how Andy Reid, they know they're going to be wearing white jerseys, and talking about the color of gloves to get flags and stuff like that. Just little shit like that. Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. Mahomes is a Hall of Fame QB. They're clearly the better team, and that showed. So Absolutely. Andy Reid is just his play calling for what he had with Mahomes being a little limited and stuff. He's a fucking genius.
He coached an amazing, amazing game, man. And we talked about it a little bit last week when we alluded to it on Wednesday. We said that what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to run screens. He's going to have to do short passes. He's going to have to get the ball out of Mahomes' hands. He's going to game plan out of the bye. We did talk about it. We talked about the strength of schedule, everything. But at that point, we had no idea what you were going to be on as far as the game. I had no idea until you released the play, and that's me. And I work for this company. Yeah. So, I was as shocked as you guys. And I was so happy you were on the Chiefs because personally, I was betting the Chiefs regardless. And And it was a great game, man. It was a great game. It was entertaining. Yeah, I mean, that holding penalty again.
Oh, very entertaining.
Very entertaining. I mean, even Hurts coming down and tying it up, scoring the 2-point conversion. I mean, this is awesome.
I was at the Super Bowl last year, which was an entertaining one as well, with Burrow and Stafford at SoFi. And, this one was really, 38-35, just fucking crazy, man. Game-winning field goal. Can score the touchdown, but go down at the one.
Yeah.
And then I pissed off. I didn't put more on that shortest field goal prop. Just knowing how aggressive the Eagles are on fourth down. The only way so the prop was shortest field goal over 26.5. And the winning one ended up being the only way I thought I'd lose it is a game-winning field goal. And we hit it by a half yard. Because no team is going to be kicking a field goal within the first 9-10 yards. You know what I mean? Right. If they have a couple of yards to go for the first down, they're going to go for it. If they're within the 5, they're going for a touchdown. They ain't kicking field goals.
Right.
So, unless you're at the 30, 40-yard line, whatever. That missed field goal in the first half too. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Right.
But, no, I never lost faith. I wish my big book, when the money lines get bigger, the live lines get bigger, they take those away and just do the spread. I wanted to hit that shit at plus 360. Fucking huge. But
yeah, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that live. I put my bet in. I was enjoying my time and looking to cash, man. And Mahomes did it. And now, we really do need to get into the talks. Is he the greatest of all time?
He's the GOAT, dude. He is. And it's too early to tell, obviously. But he's so young. Already 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know. I just like him. He's not cocky, arrogant.
He's extremely humble, man. And he could not be. He shouldn't be, realistically. He's a $500 million man. Only contract to ever see that amount of money in the NFL. Let alone, I think, major sports. And, I just think that he is the true package. You talk about Tom Brady being the GOAT as far as the rings, but his true raw talent and ability to lead. I think we're seeing that Mahomes is right there with leading, winning. We'll see as his career plays out, but he's got 2 early Super Bowl rings, just like Tom did. And raw talent, he blows Tom away. Just blows him away.
Oh, he's more mobile.
His arm's stronger. He creates more.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see him kind of work with limited weapons. Travis Kelce's big, but Tom had Gronk. Juju's good, but he's not necessarily,
not Tyreek Hill.
Right, a Tyreek Hill. So now we're starting to see him kind of have that same esque thing with a Hall of Fame coach. I'm super excited to watch the rest of his career, man. What was that?
They got a great offensive line.
They do. Well, the Patriots did too. So how they won?
Every Super Bowl team pretty much does. But
yep. It was great, man. I thoroughly enjoyed the game, thoroughly enjoyed the outcome.
I was impressed by Hurts. Hurts is really good.
We did say it, though.
He probably played his best game of his life.
Oh, absolutely. But we did say if it came down to him having to make a throw, I know he had very limited time, but he couldn't even throw that Hail Mary like 40 yards.
Yeah, but he never throws to the right since he's been hurt. He never throws to the right. No. Never deep middle. It's always deep left or
he's a gamer though. He's a gamer. He proved me wrong. I thought he was going to struggle in the game. I really, really did. And he didn't. So he proved me wrong.
Well, I had the under 239.5 passing yards. I think he finished with 304 or whatever. I like the over. I didn't know there'd be 73 points scored, but
right.
Yeah. Either way, 3-1 on the game, 14 units on the Chiefs, 1 unit on the over, 1 unit on the shortest field goal over 26.5, and then lost a half unit on. So the smallest bet of the day was the one that we lost. So
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We got Justin in the house. Justin, where you at? I need a double prop. We got Lucas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely, man.
they were exposed. I mean, they got a good defense, but I heard a stat since week 5 they faced 20 quarterbacks. None of them were Pro Bowlers. You look at what Pro Bowl quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, I mean, even Lawrence, Mahomes, they all just butchered their fucking defense, averaging 33 and a half points.
Yep.
So, and it happened again. They gave up fucking 38 in the biggest game. So,
Yeah.
you can't have that.
Yeah, you
You can't have that.
absolutely can't. Justin, he hit the over twice. That's awesome,
Damn.
man. Good for you. That's great. That's great. You know, in years past, man, and this is probably why I didn't even look at the live lines at all. In years past, I got kind of kook and I would bet live spots during the Super Bowl, and I just ended up losing money. So, you know, that's why I stayed away from any live lines. But Justin, I'm happy you hit that, man. That's awesome. But NFL's over. Sad. But we move on to next season. And now March Madness right around the corner, man. And college hoops has been a top sport.
Mm-hmm.
Top sport. You have
it's coming up here.
You have a what is it today? The 5-unit 2-teamer play of the day.
Yep.
Little NCAA basketball and NBA. Can't speak on it, but get locked and loaded, people.
I love the spot.
I believe our record on those are fantastic as well.
7-2 now. Lost the one on Saturday, and then the one before that was that Tennessee, which shouldn't have lost. That was 11 and a half unit swing. That's the difference between being even last week and down 11 and a half. So
legit. Yeah. But still positive on the year. And still positive in February. So
still up 37 units in the last 3 weeks. So
absolutely
not going to let 2 down days fucking affect shit. So
you can't, and we bounced back very nicely yesterday, man. And you know, new week, new money. Comment here. Florida was disgusting Saturday. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it didn't even end up mattering. Iowa State choked.
Yeah.
Michigan wasn't in the parlay, but Auburn and Michigan were up pretty much the entire game and then choked at the end. It was just one of those days. I like the plays. I do most of them over, honestly, but you couldn't ask for a better spot for Florida just to win. I mean, there's a lot of sharp action on the -9, losing back-to-back road games versus really good teams, coming back at home. Vanderbilt coming off 2 big losses, coming off a big win versus Tennessee in a game they shouldn't have won. So it was just set up for the perfect spot for Florida to at least win.
Right.
And the last 5-7 minutes, they didn't score really at all till the last 30 seconds and free throws and just stupid shit. So just terrible.
No
terrible.
good.
And of course, the free play Texas Tech comes through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these free play people, man, they're eating. Something about it, man. Something about it. And I'm happy for them. But, you know, for those free plays and anybody that is, you know, looking to hop on that just follows the free plays, I know specifically a lot of daily clients do that. They'll build a bankroll on the free plays and then invest, you know, in a longer package. And really that's what it's there for. And thank you guys again for being so good on the comments and likes lately. It's been really helping us out a lot. Xavier, great hit on the Chiefs live, man. That's awesome. Plus money. And then over.
Damn.
The over was a lock. I was saying under all week. I got cooked out on that. Just no good. Yeah. Just no good. Jimmy. Nice to see you here, Jimmy. He's saying follow the system, people. Follow the system. Absolutely. Follow the system.
Yeah, and what's funny is you'll have a big down day, and then the next day sales are down and stuff, and then you have a big day, and then the next day they hop back on. It's so predictable.
It is.
But it just shows to be consistent. Yesterday, you got almost 10 units back. So pretty much everything we lost.
Right.
One of those Friday, Saturday days you got back if you stuck to it and cashed with us yesterday. So
Yeah,
I know there's some people that put 14 units on that motherfucker too and didn't listen. Yeah, good now.
Good now. Yeah, good now. The Eagles win. We're saying, you should have listened. Yeah, it's okay though. It's okay. You know what I have noticed though, and this is props to the people that are listening. I have noticed that a lot of daily clients who are consistent daily clients are now starting to move over to weeks and to months, and they are listening. And that's props to you guys for paying attention, reading, and starting to take this seriously, because that's what we're here to do, to inform you guys on how to put yourself in the best position to be profitable in this space.
Well, and some people are here just to do it for fun and shit, but
right.
Regardless if you're here to do it for fun or not, don't you want to make some extra money?
Mm-hmm.
I worked my ass off as a sales director for GM dealerships, literally working what we called bell to bell, 8 a.m. till 9 p.m, literally 5 days a week, and then having to work every Saturday too. We were closed on Sundays here in the state of Minnesota, but literally over 70 hours a week for over 10 years, and just got sick of the fucking grind. So I'm blessed now to be able just to do this, for a living. And especially now with kids and stuff, it's, actually being able to go to events and all that stuff that I couldn't do before. So, but if you legit, I'm not just saying this, if you legit follow the system, and I understand you got to pull profits sometimes and stuff, but if you can reinvest as much as you can in your bankroll to increase your unit size, I 100% believe that you could quit your 9 to 5 realistically within a few years. Legit, realistically, probably 2-3 years. By doing it consistently and growing your. Last year sucked. I've talked about it a lot. Whatever, ton of shit going on. Was with a different company, starting another one. Quit my job. New baby, just ton of shit. Dealing with some other shit with an old partner, whatever. But the 2 years prior to that, it was consistent. We had some good weeks, some good runs, last year too. Don't get me wrong, but I also adjusted a lot of stuff and got away from the original system and started doing 6 5-unit plays on a day, and just became. I mean, we were hot, so then you start pressing and stuff, and then it turned and kept doing it. It kept doing it. So it was a big lesson for me. I'm still younger and doing this too, and still learning and stuff too. I'm always learning. Not one of those guys that thinks I got it all figured out. So
no.
So the way I look at it is, I looked at last year as an investment and learned a shit ton by all that, and it'll never happen again. And it's only going to make us stronger in the future. So,
absolutely,
but truly growing your unit size, you can legit do this for a living, and you should be able to make it a side hustle right now where you're making, a few extra grand a month. And then just keep growing your unit size, where then it turns into replacing your income. And then once that's consistent for a while, you don't just the first big month want to quit your job and say I'm all in.
No, please don't do that. Please don't.
I mean, I could have quit a year before I did, but I just, it's a big decision. So you want to make sure you're making the right one.
It is. Absolutely. But, you're living proof of it, man. You're living proof of it. And like you're talking about, it could supplement your income. It could allow you to, build up your savings or a portion of your savings account. Look at it like the stock market. You should have your savings account. You should have your investments and all that different stuff. And this is a portion of the investments. And once you reinvest, it grows. It grows, and then it could eventually take over your 9 to 5.
There's people that'll say, well, why do you sell picks? If you're that good, you don't need to sell picks. And yes, I make money selling picks as well. But the reason why I sell picks, I'm making extra money on something I'm already doing. That's why. Right. So, and anyone in my position would do the same thing. I don't give a shit what they say. if it's something I'm already doing anyways, why not post my plays on a fucking website and make extra money doing it? You'd be stupid not to.
Right.
So, and I, regardless of the sales from the website, make my living from betting the plays that I'm posting. 2 years ago, made 250 units. I made $250,000 off betting. And I still did quit my job because I needed to prove it, to myself. And the year before that, had a really good year. That's when I was posting stuff for free.
Right.
So, but yeah, the whole pick selling thing, yeah, that's just to be blunt. That's exactly why anyone in my position would. So,
when you're good at something, never do it for free. That's what the Joker told us. You guys remember that in The Dark Knight. Jimmy, I have a Mahomes jersey, sir. It's on. It's right here.
Man, I got to get one. I got to get a Chiefs hat. I don't have
right
a Chiefs hat, man. I got to
order
one.
I don't. I have their Super Bowl one. NFL Shop was running this one deal last year. I got it for $1. $1. Yeah. So I have that at least, but
I want to go see him again. I know we went and saw him versus Brady, but
yeah,
that was a long day. I'll leave it at that. So I want to actually go watch him. So
yeah, it was an interesting.
That was the
time.
trip we gave away. Yeah,
but
it was an interesting trip. We got there, the power went out. We were stuck at this restaurant bar, and then
couldn't get a drink. We couldn't watch a game. We couldn't get any service on our phone. I mean,
the hotel wouldn't let us in our room. Had to leave our bags there and go change in the bathroom. It was a shit show.
But you know what? In hindsight, we got to see the Super Bowl champs. So that's pretty cool. Now we know.
Yeah.
We did get to see him this year. So that's pretty great.
And why we bet against them, I have no fucking clue. But we had the Bucks that game. Fucking terrible.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Wasn't even close. Blow it from the start.
That you see, so that I mean, dude, that was one of the times, man, where you said for 5 weeks you're like, I am never betting the Bucks on that spot, and then you got off the plane and you were so hyped up on the Bucks, man, and I was so hyped because obviously I was going to bet them regardless because of Tom. That's betting with your heart. Don't do it, people.
And I did have the over. I should have just hammered that.
Oh, don't give me that cash at halftime, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was a great time, though. It's a story and a half, that's for sure.
And speaking of, we got to do, gonna do another something.
Something.
Maybe we'll send out an email with the poll or something. Maybe an NBA Finals game, NHL Stanley Cup game. It's gonna be too soon for March Madness, so I won't be able to do that. Or MLB, pick any stadium thing like we did. Or the last winner picked the Petco. That was a fun time in San Diego.
That was
or
fantastic.
Just fly to Vegas and do that, and maybe I give you some spending cash for betting and hang out for a weekend and have a good time. Whatever. So whatever you guys want to do, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, we got.
But the Vegas trip would have to come with some cash for the winner to to bet. So
sure, that would be fun though. You go on a big weekend. I mean, I know football is over, but go on a big weekend. Maybe early football,
baseball, NBA Finals.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, we'd
NHL.
Have to go to the NBA's corner. Don't put me there when all I can bet is first fives. Okay, Mike, I'll lose my mind. You guys don't know. Baseball. I don't gamble on anything else but this sports. So, when I don't go to the tables or anything like that. It's just not my cup of tea.
Smart.
Yeah, I just got nothing about it. But let's talk about tonight's slate a little bit. Let's start in the NHL because I can't give any 2 cents on that. So, anything you like in there? Anything you want to talk about?
Actually, on a 7-2 NHL run right now. Mm-hmm. Been pretty selective. If I have a play, it's one play a day here and there kind of thing lately, but it's working.
Right.
I got one spot tonight, and that's probably it. More focused, like the college basketball and NBA slate quite a bit more. There's 5 games tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, My free play won't be in the NHL. It'll be in college basketball. I can break that down when we go to that. But
Beautiful.
yeah, 5 games tonight. I don't love many of them. I like one. The line's moving quite a bit. I didn't have a write-up on it, but yeah, can't really talk about it. But yeah, unless there's some other spots that you like in the NHL tonight, you got Calgary, Ottawa, the Coyotes, Nashville, Florida, Minnesota. That should be a good game. I have no feelings either way about who's going to win, but Detroit, Vancouver, maybe the over there. That's probably my one lean. And then you got the Sabres and the Kings. If I had to have 2 leans in the NHL, it'd probably be the Canucks and probably the Kings at home versus Buffalo. Kings are just coming off of a win too, and Buffalo's now lost 3 straight. Kings are still at home. They just beat Pittsburgh 6-0. Buffalo's struggling. And then the Canucks, just their goalies are fucking brutal, but they do have a good offense. See if Red Wings can score enough to push it over, but I'd lean the over there. It's probably my strongest lean in the NHL tonight. So, but I have a two unit play.
Love it. Jimmy is saying the over on the Sabres is a fucking lock, people. It's a lock.
The Sabres Kings game.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked or the goalies confirmed there.
I'm not sure. I can pull that up real quick. Like, I think your laptop's dying again.
No, it's not dying. My AirPod. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in real staticky though, man. All right. Well, Mike will be back. Ryan saying it's Monday, boys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shane, Lakers, Dallas, Denver. All right, he's back. Are you back? Are you good?
Can you hear me?
Beautifully.
Yeah, the AirPods died. So
okay, perfect. Lakers, Dallas, Denver, NBA parlay money lined. Let's talk NBA.
Yeah, all I got right now is a money line in a game, parlayed with a college basketball. I haven't even looked at that Lakers spot. I don't think LeBron's playing. He was at the Super Bowl last night. I was watching a thing. People were bitching because he was at the Super Bowl last night, and then they'll be pissed if he doesn't play tonight. That has nothing to do with fucking anything. He's got a fucking private jet, and he can be there in an hour. Fucking, you know what I mean? Just stupid. The Lakers.
Did you see he crowned himself?
Oh my!
They were booing him, and he crowned himself, and then took a sip of his.
See, I hate that shit, dude.
Beverage.
I hate that shit. I respect him as a player, but
yeah,
he even seems like a decent guy. I just don't like that. Where it's like he even had at his party. Did you see he hired 2 goats?
2 goats, yeah. Walked them into the club.
Yeah, real goats. Can you see Mahomes doing something like that?
No, I can't. But that's why LeBron is such a polarizing figure, man. You know, I mean, he's the chosen one. He had it, tattooed on him before he was even.
And I get
in the NBA
from and what he's accomplished. I get it.
Absolutely.
I hate that shit. It's like these handicappers. Fucking, I'm the GOAT because I hit my big play even though I lost the last 4 and lie about it and fucking send half. I send half my clients one side and half the other side, so I'm always a winner. Fucking shit like that. There's a lot of people that do that shit. Drives me nuts, man. And then they have comments turned off, so nobody can comment saying you're a fucking fraud. Nobody can read the shit.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild. People are interested.
When I'm on crazy runs, I actually legit get emails and comments saying that that's what I do and that it's not real. And it's like, if you knew anything about the portal and how I fucking post shit and post the ticket and everything, you wouldn't be saying that. But
no,
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
That Lakers game is interesting. I mean, I'd like the Mavs there at home versus the Wolves.
I love the Mavs.
Yeah, I think the Mavs are going to make a run. I wasn't sure about how that's going to work out after the trade, but I think it could work. And I think they could do some damage come playoff time.
I agree.
Still too early to tell for sure, but and speaking of injury games, man, that Kings game on Friday, you lose when Luka's not playing and win when he is playing. That shit just fucking drives me nuts, man. But anyways.
Yeah, hey, we've talked about it all year, and it's staying consistent. With these injury games, it's like just you might as well just, if you're gonna bet the game, just bet the side of the other team.
Yeah,
I mean it's weird.
Lakers are getting hit big. The tickets are exactly 50-50, but the Lakers are getting 95% of the money.
Wow.
And they're getting hammered on the money line 98% as well. So that's why it moved from 2.5 to 1. Anthony Davis probable, James questionable. I don't know. What I was hearing today is James probably won't play tonight. So once he's ruled out, though, you're going to get a better line. So
right.
Personally, I'd wait to lock that in, even if somehow he does play and gets confirmed, and maybe they become a small favorite. You're still better off than taking that chance, I think, because if he does have a better chance of sitting out, you're going to get a better line once he does get ruled out.
Right.
If you do put in that parlay, or if you're familiar with open parlays, how you can lock in the others and leave a spot open and then lock that one in later. That's one that I would probably lock in later. Because if he is ruled out, and you got to like that play. I mean, if you're taking the Lakers, you got to like it without LeBron playing pretty much to lock it in. If you don't, there's no point in locking it in right now because I don't know if he's going to play.
Right.
But the line kind of says that maybe he will, or they're unsure because, I mean, it did move, but they're getting hammered, so they had to move it a little bit.
Right.
The Warriors spot is interesting.
It is an interesting spot. I like the Warriors.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the Warriors a lot.
That loss on Saturday on ABC. Wiggins is available. I just got that notification. So I think that's why the line moved to 4, moved from 3.5 to 4 in the last little bit here. That's probably why. It's pretty 50-50. There's a lot more tickets, though, on the Warriors. Bigger money's on the Warriors.
Sure.
The Wolves are actually 46% of tickets and 73% of the money, but the line's reversed a little bit. It's getting bigger. Mavs 7.5 now. I mean, I like the Mavs to win there. I'm not talking spread, but definitely like them to win.
I actually think they're going to go on a little ATS run, man, because they've been bad all year.
Well, it's due for positive regression.
Correct.
They've been bad. So
correct.
And Irving seems like he just seems like he's behaving and knows he has to behave. He wants his contract. Okay. Sure. So I'm sure they had a talk with him and they're like, here's the fucking deal. You're a short-term rental. Let's see what we can do. You behave. I'll reward you.
Yeah.
But he does some wild shit. After the first game, he was walking home with fans, walking on the streets.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking out there, man. I like it.
He's out there, man. He is out there. But, I think, Luka seems like a cool cat. He really does. And we know Mark Cuban's a cool guy, so maybe they have a really nice atmosphere in Dallas. I mean, I'm sure Luka's been a little fed up with the lack of talent he's had around him. And this is really the first big star that Luka gets to play with. Luka's got to be ecstatic.
Well, they're having some other guys step up. Is it Jalen Green?
I believe.
Jalen. Yeah. Jaren, whatever. He's been having some big fucking games here. It's just weird how when you trade people away or people get hurt, these guys that step up and kind of these hidden gems, kind of like what Poole did with the Warriors.
Right.
You don't know what you got with some of these guys till you give
Josh
them
Green.
Josh Green, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's young and I think he's going to be pretty good.
I agree.
They got some pieces, and then didn't they? Who's the big man they got? Did they get Plumlee, or who got Plumlee? They got somebody.
That one I don't know. That one I missed.
I think they made another move. What the fuck was it?
That one I missed.
Maybe not. I don't know. But the OKC spot is interesting too. Pelicans are a mess right now. They've been terrible on the road. OKC's now -2.5. McCollum is also questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why the line moved a little bit too. Probably, I think he'll probably be ruled out and it'll go up a little bit more. So if you do like OKC, it's probably lock it in sooner than later.
Yeah.
And OKC has done well in the favorite role. They're not favorites often, but when they are, they do well.
Yeah.
And they're just one of those teams that puts it all out on the line every night. They don't really have those letdown games and all that shit. They play hard every night. They're consistent, and that's why they're the best in the NBA against the spread. So you could literally bet blindly OKC every single game this season, and you'd be up. I mean, it's 60-some%. So it's pretty crazy.
It is. It really, really is. In the last game when they played the Pellies, they were also at home and they were -1.5. Did not cover that spot. Now I'm 2.5 today. So they did cover their first matchup though, +5.5.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That Bulls Magic spot, I have no idea. I'm torn. I like things about both sides. I can see taking the Magic plus the 5, but it should be a spot for Chicago to bounce back. Their first home game back after getting swept on the road. Memphis, Brooklyn, Cleveland, all three pretty bad losses. Almost all three by double digits, damn near.
Mm-hmm.
Magic they're young, but they'll be good, here in a few years and stuff. They're
I agree. They should have beat the Heat. They should have beat the Heat on Saturday. They had the entire game. I don't believe the Heat led until overtime. And it was a weird game. It was a weird line. And then the Bulls, I actually watched both of these games on Saturday. The Bulls have blown a lead in the last 4 games. They were up in the last 4 games and they blew it. Just had a terrible fourth quarter. They have no way of dealing with adversity at all. DeRozan's completely checked out. Levine, I don't know if he's hurt. He's pissed off at the front office. He's mad he didn't get moved. I don't know, but he seems checked out. Vooch hasn't been good since he left the Magic. The Bulls are in a world of hurt, man. A world of hurt. And yes, should they bounce back today? I mean, initial look, I like the Bulls, but I can't back them. I just can't.
Yeah. We hit the Magic versus the Nuggets. I think that was that Thursday or Friday? They won outright.
Yeah.
5-point dogs. Same line. Getting 5.
Yep. I believe majority of the coin is on Chicago as well.
No. Magic 42% ticket, 76% of the money.
Oh, see, this is what we're talking about the different resources. I checked Wager Talk very quickly before the show. So, again, another example of that. Denver. We're getting questions about Denver here. Our guy Kevin, thoughts on Denver? And then also Shane was asking about Denver and his parlay.
It's a weird game, weird line. Bam and Strus, both probable.
Hero doubtful.
Oladipo, Haslam, Hero, they're pretty much out. Yeah. Right. Everyone else should be good. But Denver, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon are also questionable. It's what do you think of the line? 1.5.
I think it's weird, man. I think it's weird. And when you actually look back at their first matchup, I know it was a little earlier on in the season. But actually, no, it wasn't. It was on December 30th. Nuggets were -4, covered by a point. Now you see the Heat coming back home. You're talking about 5.5-point line functionality coming back home with Hero out. I find that very odd. And Denver has not been the best road team. On paper, they're more talented, I believe. But the Heat are 19-9 at home. Nuggets 13-14 on the road. They're night and day on the road. And even with Hero out.
Does this line tell you that Murray's probably out?
Well, I think it just flipped, actually, because it's Denver -1.5 now. Earlier on today, I was actually speaking on the line I saw earlier for the show. It was Heat -1.
Those games can still be weird, though. Don't let that fool you.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at that initial line.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the initial line, just like I liked for the Super Bowl. That initial line that popped out, the Chiefs is the favorite. That was the line, and they covered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's a tough game. It's a tough game. Gun to the head. I'd probably have to go Heat, and it pains me to do it because I do not like the Heat and how they have been performing ATS-wise, straight-up-wise this year. They're moseying around just like they did last year, and I'm sure we're going to see them after the All-Star break turn it up. They'll end up as a middle-of-the-pack team to the top of the East, and they'll do something in the playoffs just like they did last year. But
I'd probably lean under there.
Mm.
It's dropped 4 points, but you can still get 219.5, 220.
Yeah.
I mean, Heat, pretty strong under trends. Nuggets on the road aren't, like you say, they don't perform as good on the road.
Right.
Could be missing a couple key guys. I mean, Gordon and Murray are huge. Miami wins with defense, so
they do. And it all depends if they want to play defense. And you know what? The way that they performed, I know they're on a 3-game winning trip or 3-game winning streak. But I don't actually like their travel spots. They won by 2 against the Rockets, then went on the road back to back. Like I said, barely beat the Magic. They didn't lead until overtime. And then now they're coming back home to play the Nuggets. It's kind of weird. And the fact that they were favorites to open the day, I just find that a little odd.
32% of tickets on the under, 92% of the money, 60% difference, tickets and money.
Whew.
Under's getting pounded.
Yeah. Some potential sharp action there.
The side, I wouldn't be able to give a recommendation there until I know who's playing and whatnot. But
right.
Either way, it's one of those injury games like that. And I fucking hate them. I hate them.
I know, man.
I would lean more towards the total there. You got some superstars, questionable. It's a weird game. Some strong under trends. There's some big sharp money on the under. The line's moving towards the under. Everything kind of points to an under there. So that's
right.
kind of my lean on that game. Might not be the fun bet. Nobody likes betting unders, but that's just the way I lean there.
You're right.
Brooklyn and the Knicks.
I have no idea. I can't get a feel on either of these teams, man. I just have no interest in it.
Knicks are good. Knicks are
they
good.
Are.
Brooklyn should take a little dive here. I mean, they got some. I mean, they played Philly tough. They lost by 3. Give them that.
They did.
They beat the Bulls. That's not saying much. They hung with Phoenix, lost by 4. They've actually covered 4 of their last 5.
Right.
Cam Thomas he's kind of taken over. Is kind of looking like one of their top guys now.
Right.
Dude's fucking going off. We got him, Dinwiddie, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Claxton, Harris, Simmons. I mean, the Nets are a mess, but I just haven't seen enough from them to be able to back them. I mean, this for me, I'd have to back the Knicks at home in the Garden. Personally, if I was to bet this one, but it's weird. It opened at 3.5. It's at 2.5 now. Where's the money? Knicks are actually getting more of the money. Well, Brooklyn is on the spread. Knicks are on the money line. So
I get that. I don't like this spot also because obviously the Nets are a different team than the previous 2 matchups between these two. And you can't really look at much line functionality there, and you can't really look at a lot of the data. I don't know. I don't like the spot. I don't like the game at all.
This is an interesting one. Utah opened up as 2.5-point dogs. Now they're favored by 1. The Pacers are getting more money both on the spread and 84% on the money line, and yet it flipped from 2.5 to 1. But there's a lot of questionables, which is why Turner and Tyrese are both questionable. So this line flipping like that with all the money on them tells me that one of those two guys probably doesn't play.
Sure.
Again, another injury game. Let's see.
Well, Utah has looked absolutely like dog shit. They're not performing well as favorite. Market's completely caught up with them. They did blow out the Pacers December 2nd. Line was 4, Utah -4, and they did blow them out by 20.
They've lost 4 of their last 5. They actually, their last 2 wins, both were against the Raptors. They beat them back to back.
Yep.
By 3 and by 6. They're on a 2-game road trip. Now they're back. They're in Toronto and New York. Couple tough games. They split as 8.5 and 5.5-point dogs. You won one of them outright. So I'd say that's a decent road trip, splitting against those 2 teams on the road. 2 tough places to play too. But yeah, they've lost their last 3 home games. The Wolves, Dallas, Atlanta, and then the one before that, they beat Toronto and Dallas. So
yep. I lean Jazz
lately. Yeah, I do too. And I think if you're going to lock in the Jazz, you'd want to lock it in now before one of those 2 guys or both of them get ruled out. If both of them are ruled out, line will jump considerably. Big.
Yeah, I'd say like 6.
And then the Spurs Cavs game, I kind of lean first half Cavs there. I think it's like 9. I'm not really interested in betting a 15-point spread, but I do like the first half there.
Yeah, I could see it.
The Spurs are a fucking mess right now. They're just
they did beat the Cavs by 1. Game 1 of this 2-game season series.
Dude,
as 9.5-point dogs.
Really? Spurs have lost 12 straight, and their last 11, they've lost and against the spread. They're 0-11 against the spread and 0-12 straight up in their last 12. But this is the biggest spread they've had. 113.5, 112.5, couple 10.5s, all the rest single digits.
Yeah,
haven't covered any of them. And this is their 5th straight road game. So, and I didn't break it down, but let's see here. It's probably their 4th in so many days. It is, yeah, I mean, their 5th game since last Monday.
Right.
Well, 5th in 8 days.
Yeah.
It's a pretty brutal stretch. I mean, you're flying from Chicago to Toronto to Detroit to Atlanta and now to Cleveland. So a lot of travel.
And then they're going to Charlotte, and then they're going to Dallas, and then they're going to the Jazz.
Oh yeah, it's a big.
Go to the Jazz again. I mean, this
big
what
road.
Is the, they must have something going on in their stadium or something. But
and Cleveland has won and covered 6 straight. Yeah, I just think Cleveland just gets off to a hot start. You 15-point spread, you always got to worry about a backdoor cover, taking starters out. You know, they win by 12 or some shit. So I'm not really interested in a 15-point spread, but I do lean. I like. I'm even close to putting a unit on it. The Cavs first half -9. It's a big number for a first half spread, but it's warranted, man. I mean, the Spurs have been fucking brutal.
Right.
And they got rid of Jacob Podol,
Podol, I think, yeah.
Yeah. They got rid of him. I mean, they're a fucking mess. They got a bunch of guys, I think, on the injury report lately. So Jeremy Sochan, he's probable. Trey Jones is out. Charles Bassey, questionable. Keldon Johnson, probable. McDermott, questionable. Langford and Birch, both out. I mean, they got Cleveland's healthy. Devontae Graham just got there. I mean, this team is just a ton of guys out. You got a new guy getting mixed into the rotation. It's just a fucking mess.
It really is, man. It really, really is. It's, I don't know. It does, like you said, I don't like those double-digit spreads. 15, that's a big number.
Yeah.
And you know what? It still is the NBA. You know, with all those trends and all that data in the NBA, this would be the day that the Spurs cover 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do like that first half look. I think the Cavs can easily, if they want, that's the biggest thing, because they did not look good in the first half against the Bulls on Saturday. If they want to come out and
that's kind of why I like it though too.
Sure. They do have the 76ers on Wednesday, though, and then the Nuggets, and then the Hawks.
That's why I like the first half and don't give a shit about the full game. So get off to a big start, take guys out, rest them in the second half for the Philly game. Yep. Spurs can cover the game. Who gives a shit? Just a big fucking start by the Cavs, blowout to start, and then they'll rest their guys for the Philly game. So that's my thinking. I might even play it for a unit and post it. We'll see.
Sure. Why not? But I think we're in agreement on the Mavs as a lean minus. Oh, you like them to win. I actually don't even mind the spread.
The Warriors
too. You know, when you look at their previous matchup, they weren't on the road against the Wizards last month. It was a short line, and I know a lot of people were on the Wizards in that spot because it was such a short line. It was Golden State minus 2.5. They smacked them up, won by 9. So, I mean, Warriors controlled that game. I remember watching it.
Well, Warriors have lost 2 straight. Washington's won 2 straight.
Right. But still a stronger line to Golden State in the matchup. It's still a stronger line functionality from their previous matchup. You know, 1.5 there. I like Golden State. I can't imagine them. The only thing about it is they do have the Clippers on deck tomorrow, which is, you know, you can always think about these look ahead spots. And that's what kind of iffies me about that Cavs full game spread, is because, like you said, it's probably not the look, because they potentially are looking to their next opponent. And with the Warriors on a back-to-back, first game of the back-to-back, Clippers on deck, Lakers next, it's a tough little stretch for them with no Steph. So, it's interesting.
I'd lean OKC too. I don't know if you know this, but they moved into the final play-in spot in the Western Conference. We're talking about a potential playoff team here that wasn't supposed to do shit.
Correct.
So Pelicans, I think, have lost 5, 6, 7 games straight on the road. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but OKC is a favorite at home. Now they got actually something to play for too.
Right. How do they respond?
Yeah.
How do they respond? And something on the Pelicans, doesn't really have to do much with the game, but Zion, again, had a setback in his rehab. I mean,
you got that. And then McCollum will probably be out tonight too. So and then they traded away Devontae Graham. So you're going to have Ingram, Valanciunas, however the fuck you say his name.
Valanciunas.
Murphy, Marshall, Alvarado, Herb Jones, Nance. I mean, that's your team right now.
Right. So England might be a decent day for
Dort's back.
Prop.
Robinson Earl's back for OKC. So they're pretty healthy now. So
yeah. It's an interesting slate. I mean, we talked about pretty much every single game here. We do have a couple good questions. Tar Heel in the house. Can you explain reverse line movement?
Yeah. So like, I'll give you an example here on the North Carolina game tonight. The line opened at 4.5, depending on the book. It's now 5.5. So what reverse line movement is there's actually more money on Miami tonight and the North Carolina game moved from 4.5, and now it's to 5.5. So it actually reversed. It wouldn't be called reverse line movement if the money was on North Carolina. If the money's on North Carolina, it moves from 4.5 to 5.5. It's just line movement. The line moved a point.
Right.
So when it reverses, that's a sign of sharp action, or there's something that you don't know that you're missing. Maybe somebody's going to be out. Something that you're missing. There's something there. So that's just an example. The NBA spots, the lines have flipped. I wouldn't call it reverse line movement because those lines flip because of questionable guys getting put on an injury report as questionable. So that's not really reverse line movement, even though like that Pacers game, technically it's reverse line movement, but the line moved because of the injuries. Where this North Carolina game, it moved because there's some sharp action on the Tar Heels, minus 4.5, minus 5.5, whatever. So that's just an example. So
beautifully said.
And it even happened a little bit on the Chiefs. There's more money on the Eagles yesterday. The Eagles were 2.5 most of the week, and that shit closed at 1. And there's more money on the Eagles. So there was some sharp action that came in on the Chiefs and drove that from 2.5 to 1. Now in a game like that, when you're talking under a field goal in a Super Bowl, more than likely the 1 to 2.5 isn't going to come into play anyways.
Right.
But in a basketball game going from 4.5 to 5.5, that's significant. So
it is. The way I always thought about it, I could be wrong, but this is when I was just getting into the space. I always thought about it where if a team had more money on it and then it reverses to the way where it makes it like more enticing to take that team, I always thought that was reverse line movement. Now, is that a correct thought or is that not a correct thought? Because okay, so say like the Eagles, right? Majority of money was on the Eagles. They were minus 2.5. And if it should move from to 3 to 3.5 to 4 and make it, you got to pay more to bet.
Yeah, so
they make it more enticing to take the Eagles by making it from 2.5 to minus 1 because now, it's only 1, more money on the Eagles. So they almost make that team that has more money more enticing to bet.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, and that's big with NFL games and shit. It can be very telling. There's been some games that have moved significantly. I mean, I've seen some games where they have 75% of the money on a team and it reverses 2-3 points. That tells you that there's probably some fucking 6-figure, 7-figure bets coming in on that other team. Big, sharp fucking action. And that's why that line is reversing. There's a high ticket amount on the other team. There's low tickets, but huge fucking money. And that's why that line reverses. So,
Yep. It could get a little confusing. That's for sure. Shane asking, what site do you use for line changes?
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, the Clippers, I don't know what the fuck. Speaking of the Clippers, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, man. They don't have a point guard. You got rid of Terrence Mann.
Didn't they get rid of Reggie too?
And Wall and Jackson.
Why they get rid of Reggie?
And they got Eric Gordon, but
who cares?
Yeah, I liked.
I loved Reggie.
I'm sure they had to package him for the deal, so it's the only way it would work. But
I think they might go out and get Westbrook.
Well, I think Paul George wants it, but I don't know if their owner likes that idea.
Right. Well, they did get Bones, didn't they? They got Bones, Highland.
Oh, they did.
They got Bones from the Nuggets because Nuggets.
He's more of a shooting guard, I think, than a point guard, right?
He was running point in the second unit for Denver. Maybe they're gonna make him be the guy. I mean, he is explosive. He's decent. He's a little bit raw, but I mean, he is young. I don't know. Maybe the Clippers are just tired of that old energy in that clubhouse, man.
But still, you have one point guard. I mean, Amir Coffey's not a fucking point guard. The guy, he went to the U of M. He fucking sucks. He can't shoot.
They'll probably get Russ. So Russ doesn't have to sell his house in LA.
He's fucking cancer, man.
Actually, you know what? I think Russ gets a bad rap, man. I think he's an actual genuinely decent guy. I mean, you saw that run report where he like tipped the people in the bubble and stuff like that. I mean, you don't hear stories of Ron James doing stuff like that.
You've heard about him being a cancer everywhere he's been.
I just think he's not good at basketball anymore, man. He needs to be the guy. He needs to shoot the ball 42 times to get his buckets and get his triple doubles, and that's just it. He's a raw, just like explosive guy that just can't shoot the basketball anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. No one wants that big ass contract, and he doesn't work well off the ball. And when you throw him with other stars that need the ball, a perfect example would be the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard needs the ball. Paul George does play off the ball, but he does bring up the ball, occasionally. Kawhi and him, those are the two guys. Now you throw Russ in there. What is he going to do? His defense is I mean, he's okay. He can't shoot the basketball, and yeah, he can drive, but he just makes boneheaded, decisions with passing. Too many turnovers, and I don't think he does well with the criticism anymore. And I do think part of him playing so poorly in LA is he did want to get moved. He started dealing with it. Started dealing with that shit show. I don't know. I've never been a Russ fan in my life, but I am trying to give him some credit for being a decent human. Yeah. And that's all I'll give him. What site are we using for line changes, Mike? I know we talked about this last show, but
line changes you can use, really just open up your book and see. I use the Action Network app for that kind of stuff, but I use Sports Insights for my splits and all that stuff. But that's $250 a month, so I wouldn't recommend going and getting it. But you can just use Action Network just to see line movements. This time of the day, it moved from this to this and that kind of stuff. And I think it's free, maybe $9 a month. I don't remember, but
yeah. I mean, Wager Talk is pretty good for that too. The live odds section.
Live odds. I wouldn't look at their splits.
Personally. Try and stay away from. Don't take their splits. We have learned don't take their splits. For 100% accuracy, but just checking out the line movement and what time the lines change. They do have a X amount of the big books up there. You can check that. And then, reference that to injury reports. Specifically, I'm talking about like the NBA and stuff like that, and see when it changed, how it changed, whatever. That's a decent one.
College basketball, we got pretty good slate tonight. It's a smaller slate, but I'll probably have five college basketball plays. I got 2 plays posted right now, plus the 5-unit parlay that's a mix of NBA and college basketball. And then I'll likely have 2 more straights coming on the West Virginia Baylor game and the Texas Tech game. So, I like me the Big 12. So,
yes, sir.
That we can kind of segue into today's free play. I'm gonna lock this in right now. By the half point, West Virginia +7. They're on the road versus Baylor. Baylor's coming off a big kind of comeback win versus TCU over the weekend. West Virginia which these are 2 teams we've been on a lot. We've been on both these teams a lot, so we're familiar with both of them. West Virginia won 2 straight. I don't have the write-up right in front of me, but I think it was Oklahoma and Iowa State they beat, and then they just got blown out by Texas on Saturday, which we were on Texas in our parlay. That was the first leg of it. Texas absolutely blew them out. But the good thing about the blowout was I watched that game and their coach took out a lot of their guys early in the second half, which pretty much tells me let's get fucking ready for Baylor.
Right.
So the Big 12 is weird. I think West Virginia is at like the bottom of the standings in the Big 12, but they're a top 25 team in the country. It's one of the best divisions in college basketball I've ever seen this year.
Right.
Literally every team should pretty much be in the tournament. They won't all be in it, but it's crazy. Baylor's a team that I really like. I think they're going to make a deep run. They could potentially win it this year. But it's kind of let me pull up Baylor's last games here. Baylor's has been rolling lately. Let me pull it up. Baylor. So Baylor beat Texas Tech at home, Oklahoma at home, and then they just beat TCU by 4 on the road. Baylor and Texas are the two best teams in the Big 12. I think Texas is maybe a little bit better, but they're pretty equal. And this line was so West Virginia was just +7, I believe, versus Texas, if I'm not mistaken. The shit that I'm using isn't pulling up right now, but so we got a similar line here. I just think it's too many points. I do think Baylor's probably got a pretty good shot of squeaking out the win here, but I like West Virginia to cover, and I also do think that West Virginia could potentially pull out the upset here. Like I said, Baylor's going to make a run. It's a tough spot for Baylor, though. I mean, they've been rolling here these last few games, and Baylor has is it Kansas? I think Baylor has Kansas on deck, if I'm not mistaken. God, if this shit would fucking work. Baylor has
Kansas on deck. You're correct on Saturday.
Yeah, Baylor has Kansas on deck. So if there's a look ahead, it's definitely here. That's going to be a big game. Like I said, the West Virginia game was over by halftime, so they had chance to rest guys. Baylor's still dealing with some injuries and stuff here and there, but this Baylor-Kansas game is going to be huge. They could take West Virginia pretty lightly here, and West Virginia is desperate for a signature win. This is a team that, tournament and seeding and all that stuff.
Right.
If we look at West Virginia's schedule, they've been bad in conference play. They've been terrible on the road. But they beat Texas Tech, they beat Auburn, they beat TCU, they beat Oklahoma, they beat Iowa State. I mean, they're capable. Any team in the Big 12 is capable of beating the other team. I just like the spot a lot for them after coming out. I mean, they had 2 great games at home versus Oklahoma and Iowa State. Texas, I'm not going to fault them for getting blown out by Texas. I think Texas is, they should be a number 1 seed come tourney time. So you can't fault them for that. It was also a bad spot for them after 2 big home wins. But here's their deal. So they got blown out by Texas. The away game before that, they only lost by 4 to TCU. The away game before that, they lost by 1 on the road to Oklahoma. Before that, 7 on the road against Oklahoma State. Game before that, on the road, lost by 6 to K-State. So 7 points is a lot, especially given the spot, the potential look ahead for Baylor here with Kansas on deck. 7 points is a lot in the Big 12 in any conference game, no matter who's playing who. So I think it's just too many points. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked to see West Virginia win. I wouldn't be shocked to see Baylor win, but I don't think Baylor covers. Both teams obviously have good coaches. Eric Stevenson has, if you've been watching the West, because we've been backing him, if you've been watching some of their games, that he's been going off. He had over 30 points versus both Auburn and Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. West Virginia probably has a little bit better defense than Baylor. Baylor obviously has a better offense. But Baylor's had some guys that have struggled lately too. So I really like the points here with West Virginia. And TCU, this game went down to the wire. Baylor had to put in all max effort to pull out this win, and they won by 4. West Virginia got to rest its guys pretty much on Saturday. So I expect them to be ready. And I think 7 points. I'd like buying the half here just to get that extra, in case it is a 7-point game,
Right.
push versus losing it. 7 points is a lot. So West Virginia +7, -120, 4-2 units. That'll be my free play for today. So I like it a lot. And
I
then
love it.
I will have a play coming on the Texas Tech game, which is an interesting game as well. So
Beautiful. I love it. Let's cash. Let's cash, people.
And
Awesome,
I think we are on, let me pull it up. Too much shit to keep track of.
It's a lot.
We are on a 27-2, 74% free play run, and we are 9-1-1, 90% on 2-unit free plays this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been tailing the free plays, tail it tonight, cash it, buy a package, make a lot more units than you are just off the free plays. So
absolutely.
I'm feeling good about this week. I know we had 2 very bad days, Friday and Saturday. But the reality is we've had a very good last month. The last 4 weeks have been really good. Yeah, we dropped 11 units last week. We had a couple games not go our way. Could have been an even week. Didn't work out. Happens. Saturday, those spots, guys, I loved all those spots. It was just one of those weird days where a couple of the teams led and just fell apart at the end. Oklahoma, you call that a bad call versus Kansas. Betting against Kansas anytime is scary, but I like the spot for Oklahoma a lot. Didn't work out. Just kind of one of those days. And Friday we got killed because I had 3 bigger plays in the NBA, a 4-unit and 2 3-units, and we lost all 3 of them. That under pissed me off. It only went over by 4 points because of Brunson had, I think, 20 points in the first quarter. He was like 7 for 8 shooting or some shit.
Yeah.
It was just shit like that, It's hard to handicap that shit. And it
correct.
happened. So, and then the Clippers versus the Bucks. It's always scary betting against the Bucks too, but I like the spot for the Clippers, but it didn't work out. And the Kings, you tell me they lose to them without Luka and then beat them the next night with Luka. So it's just weird shit. So
yeah, the NBA has been extremely sharp. It was a sharp week of lines and teams covering by a point, 4 points on the total. It was definitely a sharp week in the NBA. So, but looking forward to this week, man. New week, new money. Money Wednesday, as Ryan put in the comments. And let's have a day, man. You have any closing notes before we sign off?
Not really, Shane. Yeah, -104. I got +105, just depending on your book. I know the one NBA game, the line's moving a little bit after one guy was confirmed in. They still got a couple guys questionable, so that's why I locked it in, because if those guys are confirmed, it's probably even going to go up even more. But +105, -104, not a huge difference. It'll vary just depending on your book and stuff. But you said it, new week, new money. We've cashed 3 out of the last 4 weeks now.
Yep.
Yeah, we had cash 3 straight, had our first down week in 4 weeks last week.
Yeah.
Let's make it 4 out of 5 here this week and keep rolling. I'm not changing shit, guys. Yesterday I was a little gun shy. I did mainly 1-unit plays just because of the terrible Friday and Saturday. And yeah, I would do those plays over that. The under that I posted for free on the Telegram and shit. If you paid any attention to that game, there's 31 points with about 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. And the quarter finished with 60. They had 31 points in the first 9.5 minutes. And then the last 2.5 minutes doubled it and scored 30 in the last 2.5 minutes of the first quarter. And that game, I think the over hit with like 18 seconds left. And then because of free throws and stuff, it went over by like 10 points. But that's just the NBA. So we pretty much went 2-2 yesterday and then went 3-1, whatever it was in the NFL. So big day. All I can say, be consistent, stick to the process. I think today will be a pretty good parlay day as well. Last week, our previous 3 weeks, I think we're pretty, we don't keep track of the unofficial parlays and stuff. Last week, I finished down a little bit in those, but the 3 prior weeks, with the weeks we had. I know we did very well with the parlays, so
Sure.
it all evens out. But we should have a good week this week. I love the card today. Super Tuesday tomorrow. Should be big. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Last question. I don't know if you have any 2 cents on it, but Drexler.
I do have a play on that game, and it is posted. So,
well, there you go, Xavier.
I'll
there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I say it every week, and I'll always say it. You guys make the show what it is. Join us again on Wednesday, and if you guys want to hop on, send us an email and share your play for that day. Just send us an email. We'll give you the code, and you guys can hop on for a minute or two. Say your favorite play, break it down with us. As always, invest wisely and let's live freely.